I do have option. Okay, firstly, okay, the camera is here. Fine. So I do have option of sunlight, but the location is very disturbing. So I'm not, and even there is not a plain background behind. This is also not plain. These are curtains, but still kind of plain. So the reason why I'm not shooting this in front of sunlight, I'm shooting this in front of two small lights of house, and this is my first long form video. I've created enough shots, then unlisted them. They are probably not related to this topic. If I'll find it fine to make them public, I'll definitely make them. Okay. There are many YouTube channels to give you analysis of various newspapers like the Hindu, the Indian Express. So I'm not gonna do the same. Okay. We all very easily, even if we try a lot, we all easily zone out. And not easily zone out, but even after trying a lot, we very easily zone out. But to zone out also we need something. We can't zone out if we do not have anything to support it. Even zone out even zoning out needs support. The reason why I'm doing this, this is the secondary reason why I'm doing this, and the primary is to cultivate a habit of reading. So today we are going to read the Sunday Express, Mumbai, December 14, 2025. The headline says, Collegium far more open than it once was. Always room to do better. Chief Justice of India. The subtitle is, Trolling must be ignored. Justice will suffer if we shift focus from duty to what's being said on social media. This article has been given by Ananta Krishnan G. New Delhi, December 13. Signaling continuity with reform, new Chief Justice of India, Justice Suryakant, has said the collegium system of judicial appointments is certainly far more open and transparent today than it once was, and there is always room to do better. Change is the only constant, and as society evolves, institutions must also adapt their mechanisms accordingly. The same applies to the collegium system, which is certainly far more open and transparent today than it once was. There is, however, always room to do better, he said. I'm not a native English speaker. I'm trying to get better. Okay, I'm not a native English speaker. I'm trying to get better. Also, I'm not a professional editor or recorder, photographer. The reason why this video probably won't be edited, and also sometimes I shall be looking towards the screen, and so sometimes I shall be looking at the screen and sometimes at the camera. Moving ahead, in an interview to the Indian Express, the Chief Justice of India said that while the collegium has evolved, any system or practice, no matter how well established, will at some stage require improvement. He pointed to the introduction of in person interactions with candidates as a very welcome step, adding that it allows members to arrive at a more objective view. His focus on judicial appointments, whether to the High Courts or the Supreme Court, would be to place strong emphasis on merit, experience, integrity, and the temperament required to serve as a judge. He took oath on November 24, 2025. Going forward, he believes an even stronger emphasis must be placed on the credentials of the candidate, their merit, their integrity, and their experience. These should remain central considerations in every appointment, he said. On transparency, he noted that reasons are now increasingly being recorded for approvals and disapprovals. but cautioned that it's crucial to strike a balance and also maintain the integrity of the system. On the Chief Justice role as master of the roster, he said the phrase is often misunderstood. While the Chief Justice of India, as the senior-most judge, has administrative responsibilities, that does not automatically imply that matters are assigned in a unilateral manner. Decisions Decisions, he said, are taken after discussion and consultation, keeping in mind experience and availability. Drawing from his years as a judge of the Punjab and Haryana High Court, where he monitored cases relating to Punjab's drug crisis, the Chief Justice of India described that phase as a true test of patience and, quite frankly, a labor of love. Assigned the matter around 2015, he said he listed it regularly to ensure sustained oversight. Okay, one more disclaimer. The Many of you may know that the articles present on the front page of the Indian Express have 25% of them. The rest 75% is given on the second page. I like to read the front page, so I read it. I like the thickness of newspaper to hold it, to read it like that. I don't like a single newspaper, so I don't read the second page. I'll read the first page and also some of the articles which truly find attractive to read. Even I hope it won't matter, as the primary source this video for you should be to, in a funny way, in a sarcastic way, to zone out. But if you find something really informative, do let me know in the comments. The next title is Messi Tour Day First. Chaos in Kolkata as angry fans ransack stadium. The subtitle is Football Star Escorted Out in 20 Minutes. Given by Tanushri Bose, Kolkata, December 13. Chaos and pandemonium broke out at Salt Lake Stadium in Kolkata on Saturday as thousands of football fans, angry and disappointed they could hardly catch a glimpse of Argentinian soccer superstar Lionel, sorry, Argentinian soccer superstar Lionel Messi at the stadium, tore down banners, hurled water bottles and chairs, and ransacked the ground. Messi, definitely, he is the highlight of the article, so I have to take his name and I have to look at the camera. Is in India as part of his 3-day goat tour across Kolkata, Hyderabad, Mumbai, and Delhi from December 13 to 15. Fans had paid for tickets ranging from rupees 3,800 to rupees 11,800, with many queuing up outside the venue since early morning. He arrived at the stadium at about 11:30 am and walked around the ground, but was surrounded by a barricade of security as well as VIPs and others. Since fans in the stadium could not get to see him, they became restless, started shouting, "They want Messi, they want Messi," and finally breaching barricades and stepping inside the ground. Despite repeated requests, the field was not cleared, and the 2022 FIFA World Cup winner, who was waving at the fans, ultimately had to be escorted out at around 11:53 am. While former Indian cricket team captain Saurav Ganguly was at the stadium and met Messi and shook hands, actor Shah Rukh Khan arrived but didn't go inside the stadium. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee too was near the stadium. Many people say that Messi is greatest of all time. Many say Ronaldo is greatest of all time. I'm not going to say anything on this debate. Personally, I like Ronaldo's dedication, his hard work. Many say Ronaldo is because of his hard work, Messi is because of his talent. But Ronaldo himself said that talent is nothing without work. So definitely if Messi has such great fan following that his fans are so crazy to see just one glimpse of him, and for that they can even go so crazy, then definitely he must be a combination of work ethic and talent. The next title is BMC's ultimatum to builders. Projects over rupees 1000 crore must set up AQI monitors on sites by end of next week. Article has been given by Prateep Acharya, Mumbai, December 13. Amid rising pollution concerns in Mumbai, the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation BMC has chalked out a slew of short term plans to tackle construction and road dust. Civic officials said these plans will be implemented within 15 days to check man made activities that lead to dust displacement. According to the Central Pollution Control Board CPCB's dashboard, Mumbai recorded an AQI of 104 on Saturday. Speaking to the Indian Express, Additional Municipal Commissioner Avinash Dhakne, who is in charge of the civic body's environment department, said one key measure is to ensure that all contractions install air quality index monitoring system systems within their premises. He said measures are being implemented immediately to ensure the city's overall AQI stays under control. In Mumbai, there are around 2000 construction sites, out of which 1200 to 1300 involve big projects costing over rupees 1000 crore. They have issued an ultimatum to each builder and contractor stating that every contractor whose project size is above or equal to rupees 1000 crore must have an AQI monitoring system installed within their premises by the end of next week. If they fail to do so, stop work notices will be issued and a penalty imposed, he said. Darkness said around 650 such firms have installed AQI sensors within their premises. The next title is UDF comeback in Kerala. BJP stunts ruling left in Tirunanthapuram. Given by Shaju Philip, Tirunanthapuram, December 13. The ruling CPM led LDF in Kerala was dealt a stunning blow Saturday ahead of the assembly polls in the state, losing heavily to the opposition UDF led by Congress in elections to local bodies and surrendering the prized Tirunanthapuram Municipal Corporation after a 45-year run to the BJP. The UDF made a strong comeback, winning or leading in 4 out of 6 corporations, 54 of 86 municipalities, 79 of 152 block panchayats, and 504 out of 941 gram panchayats. The LDF defeat in Tirunelveli, the state capital, stood out and will boost the BJP's confidence in the countdown to the assembly elections. The BJP plans to field candidates from urban constituencies like Nemom, Vattiyorkavu, 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 and Kazakottam areas under the Tirunelveli civic body. The LDF, which had dominated rural as well as urban local bodies across the state over the last decade, managed to retain or lead in only 7 of 14 district panchayats. Acknowledging the scale of defeat, CPM State Secretary M.V. Govindan said the setback was unexpected. They'll examine why the government's achievements didn't reflect in the elections. The Congress has joined hands with communal forces to defeat the LDF. In many places, the UDF and BJP helped each other. In the 101 ward Thiruvananthapuram civic body, where voting was held for all but one ward, the BJP won 50 as against the LDF's 29, UDF's 19 and 2 independents. In the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, Congress MP Shashi Tharoor had retained his Thiruvananthapuram seat by defeating BJP's Rajiv Chandrasekhar. The BJP did open its account, winning the Thrissur seat where it had fielded Suresh Gopi. The next title is At Kisan Mela near Pune, Bilin to a Quiet Corner on Mental Health, given by Rohit Yadav, Pune, December 13. A farmer from Latur, the 46-year-old, stopped at a pavilion which had a chart with a meter on it and the words Kai Maja Manat, what's on my mind? Putting down his bag, the father of three looked at the pamphlet handed to him by a woman. He went to the extended space behind the counter and sat down to talk of successive crop failures, sleepless nights, and his fears out the family's future. Another farmer, a 31-year-old from Satara, opened up about his struggle with alcohol addiction and its impact on his family. At the bustling Kisan Mela 2025 underway in Moshi, about an hour's drive from Pune city, where agricultural innovations and entrepreneurship are being showcased. This one corner is quietly sowing the seeds of resilience. In collaboration with the Institute for Psychological Health, an initiative titled Cultivating the Mind has brought mental well-being into the heart of one of the largest agricultural exhibitions in the country, spreading awareness about the role of mental health in daily life. Okay, cool. The next title is Hanumangarh ethanol plant protests. Punjab, UP, Haryana farmers join in. Given by Parul Kulshrestha, Tibbi, Hanumangarh, December 13. A violent clash, hundreds named in FIR, 40 arrests, and an echo in Lok Sabha, Tibbi, a town in Rajasthan's Hanumangarh district, has become ground zero for a protest that has brought farmers from several North Indian states together against the construction of an ethanol plant. They fear the plant would pollute groundwater and hinder farming in one of Rajasthan's most fertile areas. The past week saw a clash between police and protesters after the latter demolished a boundary wall of the under construction plant with tractors. The clash took place following a Mahapanchayat by the protesting farmers. The clash was intense. Protesters vandalized and set ablaze several vehicles, while police fired tear gas, shells, and used lathi charge to bring them under control. A Congress MLA, Abhimanyu Punia, who was at the site to support the aggregating farmers, was injured. The plant's management filed a complaint following which an FIR was registered against 273 people. The TB Circle officer also filed a Sumoto FIR against 108 people. As many as 40 people have been arrested, including two Congress MLAs, former MLAs, and farmer leaders. One of the farmer leaders, Jag- Jagjit Singh Jaggi, sorry, Jagjit Singh Jaggi, said another Mahapanchayat would be held on December 17 under the banner of the All India Kisan Sabha and the Samyukta Kisan Morcha, where leaders such as Rakesh Tikayat are expected, along with protesters from Punjab, Haryana, and Uttar Pradesh. The proposed 40 megawatt grain based ethanol plant is being constructed by Dune Ethanol Private Limited, a Chandigarh headquartered company that was incorporated in 2020. While the company says it will support the center's ethanol blended petrol program, locals, especially farmers, apprehend it will lead to pollution, particularly affecting groundwater. The company's leadership was unavailable for comment despite repeated attempts, but government officials assured the plant would not cause pollution. I repeat, government officials government officials assured the plant would not cause pollution. The factory was constructed after taking NOC, no objection certificate, from the Pollution Control Department and the State Groundwater Department. This is a zero liquid discharge factory where the wastewater, including all the industrial effluent, will be treated, recovered, and reused within the plant. This will leave no discharge to surface water or soil. When the rules are clearly stated and when the company has agreed to it, this issue is being raised for political gain, said an official who did not wish to be identified. Protests against the plant began in September 2024. In July 2025, the protests intensified when the company began constructing a boundary wall. Since November, the factory construction has continued under police protection. Farmers called a Mahapanchayat on December 10, after which around 6,000 people marched towards the factory area with tractors and broke the boundary wall, leading to a clash with police. Mangesh Chaudhary, a member of Akhil Bharatiya Kisan Sabha, claimed they were always ready to sort this issue peacefully without any aggression. But the government didn't send anyone to have a meeting with them, and instead they kept on threatening them. They arrested their members from their homes in the middle of the night on December 9. Farmer leaders want the government to stop the construction of the factory and drop cases against protesters. They also claimed that 20,000 people would gather in Tippi on December 17. Authorities have responded by sending around 500 people force and border home guards to secure the area. Police officers from Jaipur have been called in to handle the situation. I know half information is dangerous, but I'm not going to implement this information anywhere to do anything. The reason I'm just reading it, just reading something I like to read to get better in this. Okay, so I'm fine to read the 25% of all the articles present on the front page. Now the front page is done. So moving to the super colorful page, very attractive, the state news of Maharashtra. The first title is Slum Cluster Redevelopment Plan for Plots More Than 50 Acres in Mumbai. The subtitle the subtitle is okay, the first I gave was the title Slum Cluster Redevelopment Plan for Plots More Than 50 Acres in Mumbai. Now the subtitle is Housing for All Scheme Announced to Redevelop Mumbai's Restricted Zones. Given by Express News Service, Nagpur, December 13. Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis on Saturday announced a Housing for All scheme to enable the redevelopment of buildings in certain areas of Mumbai that fall under restrictions imposed by the Final Zone, the Juhu Military Transmission Station, the Kandivali Malad Central Ordnance Depot Complex, lands adjacent to defense establishments, and other regulated areas. The announcement comes ahead of the upcoming Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation polls and days after Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde announced the regularization of buildings without occupation certificates. Fadnavis also announced the relocation of high frequency radar centers located at Dahisar and Juhu to enable the redevelopment of buildings in these areas. Addressing the Legislative Assembly, Fadnavis said through this new scheme, a free floor space index of, u- of up to 300 square feet will be provided for the economically weaker section. Furthermore, the scheme provides for free of cost reconstruction of tenements up to 600 square feet for low income group individuals. The necessary incentive FSI will be granted for this purpose, while the basic FSI rights of the original landowners will remain unaffected. It's planned that the unconsumed FSI will be made available in the form of transferable development rights or TDR, which will enable the raising of funds for the redevelopment projects. Any incentives, premiums, or ancillary benefits will remain applicable in this new scheme. This new scheme is expected to make all redevelopment projects in the Greater Mumbai area feasible and thus boost all redevelopment initiatives. This, sorry, just to get the rhythm, I'll repeat the paragraph. This new scheme is expected to make all redevelopment projects in the Greater Mumbai and feasible and thus boost all redevelopment initiatives. This new scheme will make previously unviable redevelopment projects, such as those near the Juhu military complex and the Kandivali Malad COD complex, viable, providing significant relief to the residents of those areas, said Fadnavis. On the high frequency radar centers at Daisar and Juhu, the CM said redevelopment of buildings in the areas surrounding these radar centers is currently impossible due to height reconstruct due to height restrictions imposed by the centers. To resolve this, the government has decided to relocate these high frequency radar centers to other technically suitable locations. According to his statement, the Ministry of Civil Aviation, the Center, and the Airports Authority of India have agreed to relocate the Dahisar radar to Gorai. The Maharashtra government has expressed its readiness to bear the cost of this relocation and provide the alternate land to the Government of India. The land in Gorai will be transferred to the Government of India free of charge. In return, the AAI will utilize 50% of its land in Dahisar for a public garden, the statement added. The state government has suggested an alternate site for the Juhu radar to the AAI's technical team. Once the technical study is completed and the alternate location is selected, the process for approving the relocation of the center will commence, easing the redevelopment of buildings in the Dahisar and Juhu DN Nagar areas. Okay. The next subtitle is 17 projects selected in phase 1 to be executed as a joint venture with several government organizations. Given by Alok Deshpande, Nagpur, December 13. Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde on Saturday announced the implementation of the slum cluster redevelopment on plots larger than 50 acres in Mumbai. In a statement before the Legislative Council, Shinde said the slum redevelopment scheme will now be implemented collectively on private government or semi government plots of 50 acres or more. In the first phase of the scheme, 17 major locations in Mumbai have been selected, including Antop Hill, Krishnanagar, and Ketkipada, Borivali, Gopi Krishna Nagar, Daisar, Oshiwara, Govandi, Chitta Camp, Trombe, Chembur, Tagore Nagar, Vikroli, Parkside, and Bhandup. Shinde stated that the cabinet approved the scheme on October 7 and a government resolution to this effect was issued on November 13. He informed that these projects will be executed on a joint venture basis with the help of government organizations like Mumbai Metropolitan Regional Development Authority (MMRDA). City and Industrial Development Corporation (SIDCO), Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation (MIDC), Maharashtra State Road Development Corporation (MSRDC), Maharashtra Housing and Area Development Authority (MHADA), and the Mumbai Municipal Corporation (BMC). He also mentioned that more projects will be taken up in the second phase of the scheme. Moreover, Shinde announced that the SRA Abhay scheme has been extended till December 31, 2026. The SRA Abhay scheme is for citizens who are stuck due to technical difficulties in the buying and selling of slum structures. Many slum dwellers had bought, sold, or transferred their huts. However, as per rules, there was no provision to include the names of these new occupants in the final appendix second list of eligible slum dwellers. This created a fear that thousands of poor families would be deprived of their right to a permanent home, Shinde said. Additionally, the Deputy CM announced a 1 year extension for MHADA's ongoing amnesty scheme for occupancy certificates. Shinde also announced to increase the number of apex grievance redressal committees, which are responsible for resolving complaints related to slum redevelopment. The Deputy CM stated that 2,103 cases are pending, and the government has decided to increase the number of AGRCs to expedite their disposal. The next title is Government Tables Prison Reform Bill with Focus on Rehabilitation and Reintegration. Reintegration, given by Alok Deshpande, Nagpur, December 13. Incorporating provisions for open prisons and open colonies to assist prisoners in their rehabilitation and reintegration into the society after their release. The state government on Saturday introduced the Maharashtra Prisons and Correctional Services Bill 2025 to consolidate laws relating to prisoners, and correctional services, which provide for different categories of prison, dedicated force, and repeal the pre-independence. The Prisons Act 1894 and the Prisoners Act 1900. If anyone of you find me mispronouncing any word, do let me know in the comments. According to the bill also provides for the constitution of the prisons force headed by the Director General of Prisons and Correctional Services. According to the proposed bill, categories of prisons include central prison with a capacity of 800 and more, district prison class first, district prison class first, 300 to 799 prisoners, district prison class second, 151 to 151 to 299, district prison class third, 51 to 150, special prison, open prison, prison for women, temporary prison, open colony and postal institution. Besides providing for open prisons and open colonies to assist prisoners in their rehabilitation and reintegration into the society, the bill also provides for prison segregation of various categories of prisoners and for their special needs such as female, transgender, under trial prisoners, convicted prisoners, high security prisoners, habitual offenders, recidivist prisoners, young offenders, civil prisoners, etc. The bill has provided for special provisions relating to women prisoners, transgender prisoners, including separate women wards in prison, hospital, and after care rehabilitation services to all needy prisoners released from a prison with a view to ensure their rehabilitation and reintegration into society. The bill has a provision for constitution of under trial review committees for every district to conduct periodical review of all under trials in all the prisons in the district. take measures for speedy disposal of cases and make appropriate recommendations to the trial courts and ensure there is no discrimination in the classification, segregation and segregation and allotment of any duty of work in prison on the basis of caste or on the basis of caste of prisoners and on the ground of disability of prisoners, and provide appropriate health care, including psychiatric and psychological services, as well as access to rehabilitation program therapies. Now, there's a small article. The title is House Panel Recommends 5-Day Jail Sentence for 4 Journalists. Nagpur. A special privileges a, s- a special privileges committee of the Maharashtra Legislative Council has recommended a 5-day jail sentence for 4 journalists for defaming member Amol Mitkari by running false and fabricated news against him. Mitkari had filed a breach of privilege motion against the 4 Akola-based journalists. Prasad Lad, chairman of the committee, informed the upper house of the state legislature that the Special Privileges Committee conducted an inquiry into the complaint and found that a YouTube channel named Satya Ladha, Satya Ladha had broadcast fabricated and false reports against Mitkari to tarnish his public image. To, to tarnish his public image. Moving to the very attractive world section of the Indian Express, the first title is US Ukraine to discuss truce ahead of European summit, given by Reuters, Berlin, December 13. Germany will host US and Ukrainian delegations over the weekend for talks on a ceasefire in Ukraine, ahead of a summit with European leaders and President Volodymyr Zelensky in Berlin on Monday, a German official said on Saturday. A US, sorry, A US official said overnight that President Donald Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff and son-in-law Jared Kushner were traveling to Germany for talks involving Ukrainians and Europeans. The choice to send Witkoff, who had led negotiations with Ukraine and Russia regarding a US peace proposal, appeared to be a signal that Washington saw a chance of progress. The White House has said on Thursday Trump would send an official to talks only if he felt there was enough progress to be made. Talks on a possible ceasefire in Ukraine are taking place in Berlin this weekend between foreign policy advisors from, among others, the US and Ukraine, said a German government source when asked about the meetings. On Monday, Merz is hosting Zelensky and European leaders for a summit in Berlin, the latest in a series of public shows of support for the Ukrainian leader from allies across Europe as Kiev faces pressure from Washington to sign up to a peace plan that initially backed Moscow's main demands. Britain, France, and Germany have been working in the last few weeks to refine the US proposals, which, in a draft disclosed last month, called for Kiev to cede more territory, abandon its ambition to join NATO, and accept limits on its armed forces. 2 killed in Russia. At least 2 people were killed in a drone attack in Russia's southwestern Saratov, Saratov region, and parts of Ukraine went without power following targeted assaults on energy infrastructure. Local authorities said Saturday a US led peace talks on ending the war press on. The drone attack damaged residential building and several windows were also blown out at a kindergarten and clinic, said Saratov regional government. Saratov regional government. Roman Basargin. Russia's defense ministry said it. Sorry, I'll repeat the last paragraph. The drone attack damaged a residential building and several windows were also blown out at a kindergarten and clinic, said Saratov regional governor I believe it's governor. It's gov dot. I don't think it's government. It's governor because the name followed by it is Roman Basarjin. If I'm wrong, do mention in the comments. Russia's defense ministry said it had shot down 41 Ukrainian drones over Russian territory overnight. In Ukraine, Russia launched overnight drone and missile strikes on five Ukrainian regions, targeting energy and port infrastructure. Ukrainian Interior Minister Ihor Klimenko said Saturday that over a million people were without electricity in the country. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia had sent over 450 drones and 30 missiles into Ukraine overnight. The next title is Ousted Nepal PM Oli's party holds biggest rally since Gen Z protests. Given by Gopal Sharma, Kathmandu, December 13. Tens of thousands rallied for the party of Nepal's ousted Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli on Saturday in the largest gathering in the Himalayan country since youth led anti graft protests forced him out 3 months ago. Police estimated 70,000 attended the rally in Bhaktapur, Bhaktapur near the capital Kathmandu to launch a 3 day convention of the Communist Party of Nepal, Unified Marxist Leninist. Leninist. Organizers has said before the rally they would bring out 3 lakh people. The event is the biggest mobilization of supporters by any party in the capital since the anti-graft protests, said political analyst Puranjan Acharya. The Gen Z protests and subsequent unrest killed 77 people and injured more than 2,000 in September. Oli and some other politicians had to be rescued and kept safe by the army for several days as the prime minister's office, the Supreme Court and parliament were set on fire. The interim government headed by former Chief Justice Sushila Karki dissolved parliament. It says the unrest caused more than $586 million in losses to Nepal $42 billion economy. Oil seeking re election as UML president told Saturday's rally the dissolution of parliament was unconstitutional. The UML has filed a petition with the Supreme Court seeking the restoration of parliament. We are being, Oli said they are being projected as anti Gen Z youths, but this is not true. UML General Secretary Shankar Pokhrel told the gathering that although they were forced out, they still live in the hearts of the people, adding, the presence of so many people in the rally is a proof of this. More than 2,000 UML delegates are eligible to vote for a party president on Monday. Oli is being Oli is being challenged by his deputy Ishwar Pokhrel. The winner will lead Nepal's biggest communist group to new parliamentary elections scheduled for March 5. The next title is Thailand vows to keep fighting Cambodia after US truce claim. Given by Reuters, Bangkok, December 13. Thailand's leader vowed on Saturday to keep fighting on the disputed border with Cambodia as fighter jets struck targets hours after US President Donald Trump said he had brokered a new ceasefire. Caretaker Thai Prime Minister Anostin Anostin Chanvirakul said, "Oh my God, the center part of the newspaper, which is used to fold it in two parts. Firstly, it's folded. Secondly, the print on it is not visible enough. It's not well printed. The reason why the words are really difficult to read. So, caretaker Thai Prime Minister Anostin Char kind of name. Anosti, sorry, caretaker Thai Prime Minister Anutin Chanvirakul said the South The Southeast Asian nation would continue to perform military actions until they feel no harm and threats to their land and people. Trump, who brokered a ceasefire in the long running border dispute in October, spoke to Anutin and Cambodian Premier Hun Manet on Friday and said they had agreed to cease all shooting. Neither mentioned any agreement in statements after their calls with Trump, and Anutin said there was no ceasefire. Anutin posted on Facebook, he wants to make it clear the actions this morning already spoke. The White House didn't respond to a request for comment on the continued fighting. Hun Manet, in a statement on Saturday on Facebook, said he welcomed a proposal by Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, who has been a mediator in peace talks, to cease hostilities from Saturday evening. Anwar, chair of the 10 nation ASEAN grouping, in a Facebook post urged both sides to refrain from any further military actions, including the use of force or forward movement of armed units starting at 1500 GMT. He said an ASEAN observer team led by the Malaysian Chief of Defense Forces would be deployed to the border and the US government would provide satellite monitoring capabilities. Anutin said there has been no agreement on halting anything when asked by reporters about the Malaysian proposal. Thailand's foreign minister told a press conference the country would cooperate with the observer team, but any ceasefire would need to be preceded by talks. They can't just announce a ceasefire while the fighting is going on, he said. Cambodia and Thailand have been exchanging heavy weapons fire at multiple points along the 817-kilometer, 508-mile border since Monday, in some of the heaviest fighting since a 5-day clash in July. Trump halted that fighting, the worst in recent memory, with calls to both leaders. The next title is Bulgaria President to start talks on new cabinet, given by Associated Press, Sofia, December 13. Bulgaria's president will start consultations with parliamentary groups next week on forming a new cabinet following the collapse of the government in nationwide anti corruption protests. Rosen, Rosen Zeliskov's minority government had survived six no confidence votes 11 since it was appointed in January, only to be toppled in the street protests on Thursday by tens of thousands. President President Rumen Radev is set to invite the biggest group in parliament for talks on forming a government. If that fails, the second largest grouping will get sorry, the second largest grouping will get its chance before the president chooses a candidate. If all attempts fail, which is likely, he'll appoint a caretaker cabinet until a new election is held in 2 months. Analysts expect another election, the eighth since 2021, would likely produce a deeply fragmented parliament and more political instability as Bulgaria readies to join the common European currency on January 1st. Fears of inflation, reportedly fueled by a disinformation campaign by Moscow, have dampened enthusiasm for the euro. Bulgaria joined the EU in 2007. The next title is Ready to Deal with External and Internal Threats, Pak CDF Munir, given by Sajjad Hussain, Islamabad, December 13. Chief of Defense Forces and Chief of Army Staff Field Marshal Asim Munir on Saturday said his forces were ready to deal with the threats posed by the external and internal elements. Munir visited Gujranwala and Sialkot garrisons, where he was briefed on the formation's operational readiness and key initiatives for strengthening combat preparedness, according to a statement by the army. Pakistan Army remains fully focused on both internal and external challenges, including hostile hybrid campaigns, extremist ideologies, and divisive elements seeking to undermine national stability, he emphasized on the occasion. India launched Operation Sindoor on May 7, targeting terror infrastructure in Pakistan and Pakistan occupied Kashmir in retaliation for the Pahalgam attack that killed 26 civilians. The strikes triggered 4 days of intense clashes that ended with an understanding on stopping the military actions on May 10. In an internal challenge, the government last year notified the ban Tehreek the ban Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan as Fitna al-Khwarif, sorry, Pakistan as Fitna al-Khwarij, a reference to a group in earlier Islamic history which was involved in violence. While interacting with officers and soldiers, Munir lauded their high morale and steadfast commitment to a national security while underscoring the importance of rigorous and mission oriented training. He also witnessed a field training exercise and an advanced simulator training facility, lauding the formation's high professional standards and overall state of readiness. A small title and article probably related to the article I just read now is UN expert calls to end Imran's detention. A UN expert has called on the Pakistan government to take immediate and effective action to address reports of inhuman and undignified detention conditions of former Prime Minister Imran Khan. The UN Special Rapporteur or Torture, Alice Jill Edwards, on Friday said that prolonged or indefinite solitary confinement is prohibited under international human rights law, and when it extends longer than 15 days, it constitutes a form of psychological torture. A press release issued by the UN human rights body said. The next title is Bangladesh interim government orders security clampdown as fresh unrest grips country. Given by Press Trust of India, Dhaka, December 13. Chief Advisor Mohammad Yunus led interim government on Saturday ordered a nationwide security clampdown as fresh unrest gripped Bangladesh following the shooting of a youth leader of a right wing cultural group, also a candidate in the February 12 general elections. The government is going to start the second phase of Operation Devil Hunt to help ensure public safety and combat the growing threat of illegal arms. Home Affairs Advisor Lieutenant General Jahangir Alam Chaudhry told a press conference. The announcement came after three assailants shot Inqilab Mancha leader Sharif Osman Hadi on Friday as he initiated his election campaign at central Dhaka's Bijoynagar area from where he is contesting as an independent candidate. According to doctors, his condition is very critical. Advisor Chaudhry, uh, Advisor Chaudhry announced a reward of Taka 50 lakh, that's 40,900 that's 40,985.81 USD for information leading to the arrest of one of the suspects who shot Hadi. The interim government first launched the Operation Devil Hunt in February this year, following protests over an attack on the private house of a former minister in the northern suburb of the capital. A small article titles US removes Brazilian Supreme Court Justice. wife from sanctions. Given by Associated Press, Washington, December 13. The US removed Brazilian Supreme Court Justice Alexander de Moraes from its sanctions list on Friday after initially adding him over his role in leading the trial against former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. De Moraes' wife and the Lex Institute, which she leads, were also taken off the list, according to documents from the Treasury Office of Foreign Assets Control. Brazil's government celebrated the move, which came after a weekend phone conversation between President Donald Trump and President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. The Trump administration had sanctioned the judge in July. The next title is Humanoid Robots Take Center Stage at Silicon Valley Summit. Skepticism Remains. Given by Matt O'Brien, California, December 13. Robots have long been seen as a bad bet for Silicon Valley investors. Too complicated, capital intensive, and boring, honestly, says venture capitalist Modar Aloy. But the commercial boom in artificial intelligence has lit a spark under long simmering visions to build humanoid robots that can move their mechanical bodies like humans and do things that people do. Aloy, founder of the Humanoids Summit, gathered more than 2,000 people this week, including top robotics engineers from Disney, Google, and dozens of startups to showcase their technology and debate what it will take to accelerate a nascent industry. Aloy says many researchers now believe humanoids or some other kind of physical embodiment of AI are going to become the norm. The question is really just how long it will take, he said. Disney's contribution to the field, a walking robotic version of Frozen character Olaf, will be roaming on its own through Disneyland theme parks in Hong Kong and Paris early next year. Entertaining and highly complex robots that resemble a human or a snowman are already here, but the timeline for general purpose robots that are a productive member of a workplace or household is further away. Even at a conference designed to build enthusiasm for the technology, held at a computer history museum that's a temple to Silicon Valley. Even at a conference designed to build enthusiasm for the technology, held at a computer history museum that's a temple to Silicon Valley's previous breakthroughs, skepticism remain high. The humanoid space has a very big hill to climb, said Cosima Du Pasquier, founder and CEO of Haptica Robotics, which works to give robots a sense of touch. There is a lot of research that still needs to be solved. The Stanford University postdoctoral researcher came to the conference in Mountain View, California, just a week after incorporating her startup. The first customers are really the people here, she said. Researchers at the consultancy McKinsey and Company have counted about 50 companies around the world that have raised at least $100 million to develop humanoids, led by about 20 in China and 15 in North America. China is leading in part due to government incentives for component production and robot adoption and a mandate last year to have a humanoid ecosystem established by 2025, said McKinsey partner Anil Kelkar. Displays by Chinese firms dominated the expo section of this week's summit, held Thursday and Friday. The conference most prevalent humanoids were those made by Chinese Unitary, in part because researchers in the US buy the relatively cheap model to test their own software. In the US, the advent of generative AI chout- in the US, the advent of generative AI Chatbots like OpenAI's ChatGPT and Google's Gemini has jolted the decades-old robotics industry in different ways. Investor excitement has poured money into ambitious startups aiming to build hardware that will bring a physical presence to the latest AI. But it's not just crossover hype. The same technical advances that made AI chatbots so good at language have played a role in teaching robots how to get better at performing tasks. Paired with computer vision, robots powered by visual language models are trained to learn about their surroundings. One of the most prominent skeptics is robotics pioneer Rodney Brooks, a co-founder of Roomba vacuum maker iRobot, who wrote in September that today's humanoid robots will not learn how to be dexterous, despite the hundreds of millions or perhaps many billions of dollars being donated by VCs and major tech companies to pay for their training. Brooks didn't attend, but his essay was frequently mentioned. Also missing was anyone speaking for Tesla CEO Elon Musk's development of a humanoid called Optimus, a project that the billionaire is designing to be extremely capable and sold in high volumes. Musk said years ago that people can probably buy an Optimus within 3 to 5 years. The next title is from Libya. Red Castle Museum opens for first time since fall of Gaddafi. Libya's national museum, formerly known as Us Saraya Al Hamra or the Red Castle, has reopened in Tripoli, allowing the public access to some of the country's finest historical treasures for the first time since the revolt that toppled Muammar Gaddafi. The museum, Libya's largest, was closed in 2011 during NATO-backed uprising against longtime ruler Gaddafi, who appealed on the castle's ramparts to deliver a fiery speech. Renovations were started in March 2023 by the Tripoli-based Government of Nations Unity (GNU), which came to power in 2021 in a UN-backed political process. The reopening of the National Museum is not just a cultural movement but a life testimony that Libya is building its institutions. PM Abdul Hamid PM Abdul Hamid Al Bida sorry PM Abdul Hamid Al Biba said. The next from Iran, 18 crew members of seized foreign tanker arrested. Iranian authorities detained 18 crew members of a foreign tanker seized in the Gulf of Oman on Friday that they said was carrying 6 million liters of smuggled fuel. Iranian media reported on Saturday, citing the Hormozgan province judiciary. It said those detained under the ongoing investigation include the captain of the tanker. The semi-official news agency Fars said the crew were from India, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh. The next small article is from Bolivia. Judge rules ex-president Eck, Judge rules ex-president Erc be arrested. A Bolivian judge on Friday said ex-president Luis Erc will be held in pre-trial detention for 5 months, following his detention earlier this week as he is probed for alleged embezzlement. Eric will be held in a prison in the capital La Paz and will likely be tried for alleged economic misconduct related to the diversion of funds for projects in indigenous communities while serving as economy minister under ex-leader Evo Morales. The next small article is from Bangladesh. Fire breaks out in 12-story building. A massive fire broke out early Saturday on the ground floor of a 12-story mixed use building in a market in Bangladesh's capital city, officials said. However, no casualties were reported in the blaze at Jabal-e-Noor Tower, and fire service officials rescued at least 42 people from the building, the state-run BSS news agency reported. And the last small article from the world section of the Indian Express, December 14, 2025. The Sunday Express, December 14, 2025 is role is from Pakistan. Role of UNRWA, UNRWA, irreplaceable in Gaza. Eight leading Muslim countries, including Pakistan, have expressed support for the UN Relief Agency for Palestinian Refugees, saying its role in Gaza is irreplaceable amid an unprecedented humanitarian crisis. In a statement by Pakistan's Foreign Office on Friday, the foreign ministers of Pakistan, Egypt, Indonesia, Jordan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and the UAE reaffirmed the indispensable role of the UNRWA for Palestine refugees in the Near East in safeguarding the rights and well being of Palestinian refugees. Sometimes I was fast, sometimes I was slow, sometimes, many times, I made mistakes. Okay, this was the first time recorded. I recorded even before, but those videos you may not find on YouTube. You may not be able to find them on YouTube. I probably have deleted them because I was not well prepared. I'm not even well prepared now, but still, if I'll not start, then I may not get better. I don't think I'll probably get the best version of doing this. I may get, but if I would get, then by doing and not just by thinking. So this was the first video. Whatever is in your mind, do mention in the comments. Criticism are definitely more than appreciation. Most welcome to them too. Okay. Thank you. See you tomorrow. That's all for today. Bye bye.